sensible, just call a professional roofer.
There. Right there, Peg, is the problem with America. We've lost our spirit of self-reliance. Something's leaking, call someone. Something's broken, call someone. One of the kids suffers a ruptured appendix, call someone. Whatever happened to the old American spirit of, I can fix it myself? Let's rock.
Thanks, Dad.
Can I get a whooping?
Whoa,
No Man presents, live from the nudie bar, the Married with Children podcast. And here are your hosts, Dan, Jamie, and Al.
What's up, guys? This is the Married with Children podcast. My name is Al. I am joined by a hunchback and a duty scooper.
Dibs on duty scooper.
Oh, come on, guys. What, no love for the hunchback?
I'm Jamie, and I broke my reception glasses.
And I'm Dan, and God, it smells like ham in here.
And the roof is leaking here at the nudie bar, and we have the window open. You can hear the rain. We are reviewing Who'll Stop the Rain, Season 4, Episode 13, air date January 7th, 1990, guys.
Woo! Coming into the new decade.
Do you believe that? When a rainstorm causes a leaky roof, a penny-pinching Al fumbles as a handyman when he tries to fix it himself. Yeah, we are in 1990 now.
I lost a sigh, I can get it back,
Yeah, this is the Ninja Turtles, all the 90s stuff, the music, the grunge. Now, it's not going to hit yet. It's still going to be Guns N' Roses for a little bit more.
It's still going to be Fat Axl Rose looking like Kinnison in the last episode.
Yep. The Married with Children show is actually known as like a 90s TV sitcom.
That's how I think of it as.
Yeah.
Alex. Yeah, for sure. Yep.
Yeah, no one thinks of this as the 80s, really. So here we are. We're in the years now that it's known for. We're still in Season 4. A couple episodes ago, about 9 more to go. This episode is basically all about a rainy day. And it's funny because last night when I was watching it and taking notes, it was raining. And it's raining right now outside.
Yeah, this episode, now while it does have its very funny moments, and it does sort of push things along a little bit with Steve and Marcy, it feels like a filler episode.
It does, but to me it's a super strong filler.
I think it is strong, and I think it's very funny.
Yeah.
But, coming off of the Kinnison episode, it almost feels like we need to take a breather. I mean, this is the whole I'm a terrible handyman, can't fix things around the house, constantly hurting myself is a common sitcom trope. But it doesn't really do anything to push the narrative overall.
Right.
At least for them. Now, we do, like I said, get a little bit with Steve and Marcy, but the show I don't think is generic because I think it's very strong, but the subject matter is very generic. Yes.
Yeah, the premise is, funny you say that. They actually did this premise already with Build a Better Mousetrap when Al was trying to get rid of the mouse in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And that was because he didn't want to call an exterminator himself. Now, at the end of that episode, they do call. The guy walks right down the basement, comes right back up with a mouse in a box within seconds. And Al, it was a chaos trying to get the mouse out of the house. This one does it better. I think the tone is better, the mood is better. It was just so strong the whole time. And I thought it was a one-note episode when I thought about it before I watched it, but actually watching it, it's just so well written that I was like, no, this is a really good time.
Mm-hmm.
I had a good time watching it, and I actually watched it 2 times. in one night, which I normally don't do. Because as I was taking notes, I felt I was losing some of the fun of watching it. So I said I want to have that fun time and just watch it and not have to worry about notes, because I liked it so much as I was taking notes, and I did, and it still held up right away afterwards. So.
Well, I got a question. Do you guys think that much like, what was the episode? Was it the car episode? Where we said something similar? I forget what it was, where, because it was the main writers, right? Mm-hmm. And we had basically said that I'm sure they have certain episodes throughout the season that they have, pre-planned or preset, so to speak.
Yeah, it was the car episode, yeah. The
car episode, right? Because, listen, if you're thinking about it, right, like the Kinnison episode, that's probably like a big deal. You got a lot of moving parts with that, and it's just obviously it's a two-parter Christmas episode, kind of a big deal. Coming off of that, you don't want to go too far left with it. You kind of want to do go back to the basics, so to speak. And I think that this is one of those episodes. Like, all right, let's reel it back in. And those episodes are definitely exemplified by the fact that there's really nobody else in it except for the Bundys and Marcy and Steve. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no hot chicks in this episode. There's nothing. It's just kind of bare bones. That would lead me to believe that this could fit in anywhere throughout the season.
Yeah.
And not require any outsourcing in terms of like cast or anything like that.
Yeah. No, it's definitely like a very contained episode.
But I wouldn't even call it, and I totally understand that phrase though, filler. Like, I was going to say that myself, but I wouldn't even call it filler. I like the dynamic though. I like the difference between, the crazy episodes with all the different people, whatever. But then also I like the flip side to it where it's just the Bundys and obviously Marcy and Steve. I always include them because they just seem like part of the family. Obviously they're part of the main cast.
Yeah. I know that Amanda Burse, she mentioned one time that people only think of the show as the Bundys, and they think of them two as a very secondary type thing. And I told her, no way. I said, no, I never thought of it that way, and this and that. It was always the whole thing to me. You're a very big part. You don't get as much screen time, most of the time. Mm-hmm. But no, I never thought of it as you're not as important.
Right.
This was directed by Jerry Cohen, writers Kevin Curran, Michael Moy.
Boy, I love the rain. Have ever since I was a little boy. Dad used to say rain is the sound of angels flushing. Good night, Peg.
Al has always loved the rain. Even when he was a kid. I think we all do, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
It's my favorite.
And he does a weird reference to an episode that was not really thought of highly on this podcast. He made a reference to A Dump of My Own, where Al was obsessed with toilet bowls, and he said... His dad said that rain was the sound of angels flushing. And, why would that make you happy?
Because toilets are a big deal in his house.
I get the whole thing, going to the bathroom is his thing. He puts the newspaper under his arm, goes upstairs or whatever. But it's getting a little too into it when you care about the bowl and how it flushes and the sound of flushing and thinking of angels flushing. Why would that ever be a euphoric thought in your head? Do you think he's thinking of Sam Kinison flushing? Because he's like an angel now, right?
Oh, right. Yeah, good callback. Nice.
Yeah. So,
great. Now I'm picturing Sam Kinison on the toilet, and that is not something I ever wanted to do.
No, not after one of his partied out nights.
Not ever. I don't ever want to picture that.
Yeah, even
of him just making that face, going, "Oh."
Even if he was a health nut, I wouldn't want to think of it.
Oh, Al.
Ah, no, Peg, I'm tired.
Well, come on, honey. You don't have to be awake. Just the usual, I'm done, how about you? We'll be fine. Oh, come on. Look, let's compromise. I'll set the alarm clock for 2. That way you can get a little rest, and I'll while away the time listening to your body ferment.
Great, I'm the only guy in the world that has to wake up to have a nightmare. Good night, honey.
Good night. I'll see you at 2.
She looks really good in that nightgown, by the way.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, dude, I was gonna say that for real.
Yeah, when she says...
All aboard, yeah.
I was like, okay. Like, it didn't seem like such a bad idea. So they set an alarm for 2 in the morning. Like, I would never want to have sex at 2 in the morning. I mean, I've done it, but...
What's specifically wrong with 2 in the morning?
Because I'm already sleeping, and I've been sleeping for probably 3 hours by then, or 4 hours.
Oh,
just like a weird thing to do, yeah.
Something dawned on me, Alex, when you see Peggy though messing with it, obviously, you know, to wake Al up. I was thinking of all
Why are the kids still up?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Why are they still awake?
Wow. Yeah, that's a good point too. Now, with all things considered, with Peg, right? Because she just keeps pouring it on. I mean, this poor guy, like, he just cannot catch a break. Like, Peg is so horrible in so many ways. I started to see, like, it was weird, but I started to see, like, the origins of Gemma Teller in there. Like, I just started to, like, really, like, not despise her, but, like, oh my God, she is just so evil. And you could definitely tell that character was probably spawned from Peggy Bundy in certain aspects.
Well, she was more evil in season 3. They toned her down a little for the majority of season 4, but I think she's slowly getting back in, as you said, like that. She's pretty sadistic in this episode. So, yeah, definitely. They're laying in bed, and the roof starts leaking, and it goes through the ceiling right on Al's side of the bed. And Al said he'd rather fix the roof than have sex, because after he fixes the roof, it won't ask him to fix it again.
Now sit down, kids. Now look, I know sometimes you feel you don't see enough of your dad, and you think he's maybe too busy to care for us. Well, get ready, because your father is about to do something for us that we'll never forget. And I want us all to enjoy it as a family.
So the ceiling doesn't leak on the kids while they're sitting there waiting for Al to fall off the roof. Although that was weird.
Now just look over at that window. About now. Okay, kids, back to bed.
Aw, thanks, Mom. Tell Daddy was cool.
I can't even wrap my head around the way she presents that, and the kids cheer, and they couldn't look happier. No one's concerned.
Horrible people. Yeah.
And if you look at the house in the beginning of the show, it's a pretty high drop. So, but no one's concerned that, do you think Daddy broke his neck? Nothing. And then Bud says, tell Dad it was really cool. That's the best part of the whole thing. Hey, listen, when he gets back, tell him it was cool.
Kelly's going to give him his wallet back.
Yeah.
Not the money.
But not the cash.
We didn't see him land.
Now, Al moved pretty fast to get up on that roof, by the way.
Yes. Yeah, that was...
Yeah. He moved faster than Jason in part 4 after he gives the corkscrew to the hand and the cleaver to the face, then goes up, throws the girl out of the window, then goes back downstairs to get the guy by the movie projector. Like, literally, Al moves at those speeds. He learned to move as fast as Jason Voorhees.
Maybe he has underground tunnels.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Oh.
And Al moves pretty quickly to get back in the house, back into the bedroom. Peg fixes the clock to go off early. She says she'll set it for 1:57, but it's obviously probably just 1 minute before it actually goes off, not 3. But, whatever. We have to presumably say that Al had sex with Peg because he didn't say no. He agreed to 2 o'clock and they got it. So Peg gets a sex point.
All right, who's going up with me? Besides Bud.
Dad, if you really expect someone to go up on that roof with you, they'd have to be a total moron.
And here's my favorite line of the episode.
Oh, no, I'm not going up there.
I mean, I love that. She just automatically assumes if somebody calls or uses the phrase moron, they're aiming it at her.
She was so adorable, though, when she said that.
She was. I love it. You know I love Kelly.
I feel like Kelly and Peg really shined in this episode. And Marcy. It was a big episode for the chicks of the show because Peg is just really amazing in this episode. Her delivery and the way she gets the joke as an actress and the way she, is able to sell the absurdity. But you got to remember, you're doing something absurd, but you got to sell this like it's real. These are real people, and this is really happening. And she does that. She brings that to life. So it's pretty amazing how she is able, and Ed O'Neill too. Obviously he acts like a real person would do any of this stuff. He kind of sells that too really well. So they really get what the writers were going for and the evolution of the show, how it became a little more cartoonish, but it works. So it's such a fine, great line. It's a great blend of these aspects.
Yeah,
even to the point where they even reference a cartoon. In here.
Al, be sensible. Just call a professional roofer.
There. Right there, Peg, is the problem with America. We've lost our spirit of self-reliance. Something's leaking, call someone. Something's broken, call someone. One of the kids suffers a ruptured appendix, call someone. Whatever happened to the old American spirit of, I can fix it myself? What happened to rugged American manhood?
We don't know yet, Dad. Kelly's tests aren't back from the lab.
Two dads suck.
Eat Mom's food.
We're missing the point here. I want to inspire you guys to great heights. Bud, you could be a doctor or a lawyer. Kelly, you could button your own coat. Anyhow, I want you guys to see what one Bundy can accomplish. I want you to say there's no task Daddy can't do.
Then they better not ask me.
Dan to cushion, Peg.
Dan, are you a handyman?
I'm really not, but over the years I've tried to acquire a trade or two, tried to pick things up.
Right.
But no, I'm more like Tim the Toolman Taylor in that aspect.
Okay. Is Brian a handyman, Jamie? I guess he's calling somebody, isn't he?
Usually me.
You're a handy woman?
I do most of the repairs and stuff around the house.
Really? Now, how do you know how to do this stuff?
Because, I don't know. I mean, I lived on my own from the time that I was 18, so I took care of stuff myself.
You just didn't want to waste money calling people?
Well, I didn't. When I was young, I didn't always have money to call people, so I had to figure out how to do things on my own. And I don't know. I also like doing it.
Yeah, I'm a hybrid of things. Like, I do as much as I can, and when it gets to the point where I'm afraid that I can make it worse and it's sort of a serious thing, then I won't bother with it. I don't want to mess something up that it would make it catastrophically worse and cost more money in the end.
Right.
But, I'll do most things around the house.
I mean, that's Brian, really. It's not that he's incapable. I think he just would rather call someone to do it. One, to make sure that if anything does go wrong, then someone has to fix it. It doesn't end up costing more money.
Right.
Also, I think he just doesn't like it. Like, he just doesn't enjoy it. And so he's like, just call somebody,
I found, too, though, so I know it's, a crazy concept, but, I like diving into projects and stuff like that because I came to a realization like probably 5 or 6 years ago when I worked for the DPW doing stuff, especially like, okay, yeah, you work for the town, like you worked whatever, but everything is so straightforward. Like there's really no tricks to anything. Like you have certain tools that'll help you, you know what I mean? Like they have post hole diggers and they have certain, you know, things to snake out a drain and all these type of things, but really it's just doing it. Like it's a very simple concept, and once you kind of realize that, and you can pretty much throw yourself into anything, and if you're really unsure, I mean, it's 2018, like look it up on YouTube.
Yeah, I think people are much more inclined to be handymen now, because you can just look anything up, and as long as you go and find the right stuff at Home Depot or whatever, you're good.
Anyhow, guys, Bundy men have always been masters of their fate. Remember Grandpa Bundy? He sure knew his way around a toolbox. There was a fixin' man.
You mean Grandpa Hook?
Yeah, well, circular saws were new back then. But damn it, he carved his own hook afterwards. He carried on. You didn't see him calling someone.
Well, it would have been difficult for him to hold the phone. You know, he only had one finger left on that other hand after that mix-up with the nail gun.
One finger is all a real American needs. Scarf, if you will. But Grandpa Hook's blood runs in my veins. I will fix this roof and show you all that Daddy can do it.
Is this the same guy on the couch when Al was desperately seeking Miss October?
This is what had me.
He had both hands.
Right.
He did have both hands, but then again, do you gain your hand back when you die and you're coming as a...
That's a good question.
Right.
Right? But the thing with that is, yeah, it's his wording that is kind of like, how did he word that? When he says Grandpa Bundy, is he talking like parents do? Like, yeah, call your grandpa, like call Grandpa. You know what I mean? Like, do you see what I'm saying? So, or was it Al's grandpa?
Yeah, how come he didn't say great Grandpa Bundy if he meant his grandparents? Because that's how he would talk to the kids, at least, right?
Exactly. And you know how, like, that's how people, you know, like families talk to each other. You know what I mean? Like call, like, say their father or the, you know, grandpa, grandma, whatever, when clearly it's their mother, but they reference it in terms of the perspective from the kids. Yeah.
I don't know. But we've had in-depth ghost discussions like, oh, if you die with a bad haircut, does your ghost have that same horrible haircut, or is it the good haircut? You know, if we came up with a bunch of scenarios. If you die in the shower, are you a naked ghost? You know, like it's a weird, like, how does, if you're a ghost, who picks your clothes out? You know, it's like the weirdest thing. You know, I don't know. And so if you died with one finger and a hook, would your hands go back to normal?
Yeah, like why as like a Force ghost is he Anakin again? He should look like Vader.
As Americans, we only need one finger.
Yeah, the middle one. So that's why I have a hard time believing ghosts, because it's just the logistics just don't work. It just doesn't make sense. Like, if I wore a Aerosmith T-shirt when I died, am I going to wear that as a ghost? You know, it's just ridiculous. It just doesn't make any sense. You know, and like, oh no, you'll wear the suit that you were buried. Well, why? Who said, okay, you know what? Let's give him the suit he was buried in because that's nicer. Who decides that's nicer than my other T-shirt?
But yet the hitchhiker ghost is always wearing her prom dress.
Yep.
Exactly. So, I don't know. But it's an interesting thing to ponder for a second.
Mom, does this mean that Daddy's too cheap to call a roofer?
Now, honey, let's give your father some credit. He may just be too stupid. Now, we all know Daddy's gonna fall. You know what you've got to do.
Get the camera.
No. We actually have enough pictures of Daddy on the floor in the wedding album. Go get the old wading pool out of the garage. Paint "Here Comes Stupid" on the bottom of it and hold it under him.
Well, that pool's kind of old. Won't Dad fall right through it?
We'll just hold it closer to the ground.
Now, what would holding a wading pool under Al accomplish in any way?
I keep picturing those clowns that have like the paper target, you know, that they run around with. And I mean, obviously, that as well as this is a parody of firemen who have the jumper.
But the thing is, them holding it in the rain, it's wet, slippery, it's rubber. As soon as he comes in contact, it would slip right out of their hands. It wouldn't break any momentum. You know, it wouldn't do anything.
That's true.
Yeah, it's just like the weirdest thing to even do. It's like all three of them are dumb.
Well, the whole concept is just ridiculous to begin with.
Why do they even have a kiddie pool?
Oh, they do, and it comes back, and it's really cool what Al does with it. And the kids are part of it.
I remember.
Oh, yeah.
I remember.
Yep. He gets a little jacuzzi action going.
I just saw that episode the other day.
It's a great one.
It is.
Peggy, you won't believe the good news. Steve just called. He finally got a job. He sounded very excited.
Well, what's he going to be doing?
I don't know, but I bet it's big. He sounded like the old Steve on the phone. Confident, proud, money grubbing. Oh, I can't wait to see him. His tie swinging erectly in the wind. His taut buttocks yearning to break free from their gabardine bonds. Peggy, I finally have my Steve back. So here, I'm returning your shower massage.
If only it could take out the garbage, huh?
Oh, hi, Marcy. I'm glad you're here.
Bring that second income to Mommy. How much are you making?
Well, Marcy, now it's not how much you make. It's how meaningful the work is to you.
Sure it is. How much?
Well, actually, I'm making $3.40 an hour.
What do you do? Dance in the park in your underwear?
You happen to be looking at the new pet handler and executive cage cleaner at Slithers, Chicago's 5th largest exotic pet emporium.
I guess you'll be wanting this back.
That's bull. Nobody in their right mind would ever let this boss go killing SOB around any type of animal. Any.
Yeah, he was famous for it.
Yeah.
He was like, it just makes no sense. And it infuriated me that they got, because I feel like that was a dig. I feel like that was a dig against me. It was personal.
And a dig against Bosco.
I was 5 years old when this happened, but it was still a dig at me. And yeah, that's a personal attack on my boy Bosco.
Yeah, what? No background checks or anything? I mean,
yeah.
Come on. Yeah, so he's making $3.40 an hour now.
Oh, Jamie. That's $6.80 now.
Yeah.
She just pulled out the calculator. You took her thunder. So that's $6.80 is not too bad, I guess, right?
Oh, Marcy, it's the greatest job in the world, and I brought home a little friend. It's Scoopy! A Scoopy is a Peruvian devil gerbil. But don't let the name fool you. He's really quite friendly. Only the female of the species is actually poisonous.
What?
So he names this Peruvian devil gerbil Scoopy, which is, I never heard of a name like that. I guess it's just Scooby with a P instead of a B. Scoopy? Like he's scooping something? Why would you name... What's a scooper?
It's better than a duty scooper.
So a Peruvian devil gerbil does not really exist. I looked it up, and it only brought up the Married with Children stuff.
Oh, isn't he cute? Bud, Kelly, come see this.
And then Al, and I like how they make like that mattered. It wouldn't make a difference. Al falling onto the kiddie pool on the ground and him just knocking it out of their hands right to the ground would make no difference. But it does look like Al, suffered their negligence. So that's funny. Steve thinks it's a good idea that Marcy bond with Scoopy by letting it crawl on Marcy's shoulder and eventually down her blouse. It's weird because when Marcy first looks into the shoebox and she looks at Scoopy, she starts having this weird twitching. Like, if you watch it again, she, like, has a weird, like, blinking thing and a weird face shaking thing when she's looking at it. Like, either she's horrified or freaked out or whatever the case. And then what eventually happens is almost like as if it was leading, I don't know, it was leading to something. So it crawls down Marcy's blouse, begins to bite her. She goes screaming out of the house.
Here, just let him nest on your shoulder. Bond with him. Yeah.
Steve, he's crawling down my blouse. He's biting me.
Oh, Marcy, believe me, if you're biting you, it'd be a lot more painful. You'd be screaming and everything. Marcy's just playing! Don't roll on the lawn! You'll hurt him!
When Marcy runs out of the house, Steve, while he's shouting out from inside the Bundy's house, it's at that point you see possibly the worst rain effect of all time. The rain that's coming down in front of the Bundy's door in the front of their house, it looks like they just held, you know, the wide, like the bar sprinkler that just goes back and forth. It looks like they're just facing that down. Right. There's like 6 streams of water just going straight down. It's like really bad.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. I remember seeing that, yeah.
Was I the only one who was concerned about the set of the Bundy house being damaged with those rain effects and the drips and everywhere?
I thought about it too.
Yeah. I was like, you're kind of ruining the set. You gotta stop this.
Oh, poor Marcy.
Help me?
Oh, I wish there was something we could do for her. I hate to see people in pain.
I'm dying.
Al, you're tracking mud on the carpet.
Well, it's not all mud. Some of it's colon.
So, did you fix the roof, Daddy?
No, Pumpkin, I didn't. When I got up there, I saw this hole, but I figured it'd be a lot more fun to take a header off the roof into the yard. Of course I fixed it. I said I'd fix it, and I fixed it. So I guess we all know what Daddy can do now.
But Al fixed the hole at that point and started another one in the living room.
Loser no more, eh, Dad? Can we call a roofer now?
No, we can't. I'm going back up there. But this time I'm going up with the right equipment.
A Wile E. Coyote mask?
No, my love.
You know, a lot of younger people won't know that Wile E. Coyote is the coyote that was always chasing the Roadrunner.
Oh, I can't believe you just had to explain that. You just made
I know. I was
bad,
thinking how sad that is.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it probably popped up in some images and even 20-year-olds.
Meep, meep.
Meep, meep.
Yeah, meep, meep. And you know that they actually credit people as the voice for years on that? Like, some guy did that for years, and then another guy did it for years, and another guy did it for years. Can you imagine? Meep, meep. Like, why wouldn't you just have somebody record it once and then just use that forever?
Yeah, right?
Well, different emotions, you know.
Meep, 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 meep.
You sound like Beaker.
Yeah, Beaker. I was trying to think of his name, Jamie. Beaker.
See, that's why you gotta hire a good voice guy. This show started September 17th, 1949, believe it or not. There's not a ton of episodes, believe it or not. It's sporadically...
That's the day after my birthday. Well, not the same year. No.
They made a good chunk of episodes, not a ton at all, compared to anything that goes on now with cartoons. And they sporadically made some, and they stopped around 2014. Yeah, it's a pretty good cartoon. It was just basically the coyote going after the Roadrunner to eat him, and he kept like falling off of cliffs and stuff, and that's the reference to Al. Like, you would see him fall all the way down, like... And that's what that was all about when Peg said that.
The thing to do is to have the right shoe.
And the left one, too, Dad.
Thank you, honey.
Yes.
And the left one, too, Daddy.
Yeah, and her face, that blank stare afterwards.
Classic Kelly. Classic.
She's so cute when she tries to help.
I love it. It's becoming one of my favorite things. Like, she's so adorable. She's just so dumb.
Yep.
Now, damn it, I said I'd fix that roof, and fix it I will. This is one man against nature. And that man happens to be Al Bundy. And as God is my witness, I'll never be wet again.
Now there's 6 to 7 holes in the roof, in the bedroom alone, because Al walked on the roof with spiked golf shoes.
I got sunshine on a cloudy day. Oh, when it's cold outside.
Shut up, Peg.
How many more holes did you put in the roof by walking on it in spiked golf shoes?
Now this is like when Katie Sagal really shines. Like, acting like that's annoying that you did that. Now we can't watch TV. And I was like, gee, I'm sorry, Peg. I was looking. I just grabbed the first thing that hit my face on the way down.
Oh, and by the way, honey, this time on your way down, you took out our TV antenna.
I'm sorry, Peg, but I needed something to break my fall. Since there was no live wire or your neck handy, I grabbed the first thing that hit my face.
Well, you know, our reception is shot to hell.
Oh, I'm sorry, Peg. Had I known you wanted to watch Dallas tonight, I would have just put my hands behind my back and slalomed head first onto the patio.
You know, this show was actually produced before the Christmas episode, too. So this was 89, but not that matters. I was more just going to say, like, this definitely dates the show, because when's the last time you've seen an antenna on top of a house?
Right.
Right? At least, 20 years, maybe?
It hasn't been that long.
Have you've seen them, but 10 or so, you shouldn't have seen them anymore after 10 years.
Right.
But nobody uses them.
You can't even use antennas anymore. Since they did the whole digital,
right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
TV thing. You have to have. I mean, like they totally changed everything. You just can't have TV with rabbit ears like you used to. You know, so yeah, they're totally useless as far as I know, unless.
No, you're right. They stopped about, I thought, 10 years ago.
I think it's about 10 years ago, yeah. Or, maybe longer than that, but that seems about right. Ooh.
Yeah. So, yeah, you have to just...
I don't know, because at the time I was living in Athens, and when I was living in Athens, you couldn't get TV without cable, period. I mean, even before they did the whole digital switchover thing, just because I could never get reception.
Well, that's because you're in Greece.
In order to get any kind of TV, I always had to have an antenna. I always had to have cable. So it didn't actually affect me when the digital switchover happened. I remember people losing their minds.
I know. It's like, why do you care?
It's going to be such a pain, you know, and like, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, it really ended up being, you know, nothing in the grand scheme of things, but
yeah.
I knew people who were very upset about that.
It's like, do rabbit ears come with the flat screen TVs? Like, why do you care? I still have a round back, man. And they're like, well, that's your first problem.
Oh man, my last TV before I got my first flat screen must have weighed like 900 pounds.
God.
Peg, you know, is complaining about like this TV situation, and Al says, "Oh, I'm sorry. If I knew you wanted to watch Dallas, you know, I would have grabbed something else or whatever."
Yeah.
Do you guys know the show Dallas? I know it's like famous for one major event.
Who Shot JR?
Yeah.
I watched that show religiously.
Bruh, see, I knew it. I had this feeling. I'm like, Jamie watches Dallas. I knew it.
I did. I watched that show religiously.
Yeah, it's a soap opera that was on CBS from April.
It ran for 13 years.
Yeah, 78 to 91. It was about a wealthy, feuding Texas family who had an oil company, and the closest thing I ever saw to Dallas was Who Shot Mr. Burns.
Well, you also, the Family Guy episode, right? Where they
so funny, yeah,
and where they do the whole Victoria Principal, Patrick Duffy, waking up at the end.
What's Family Guy?
Yeah.
Oh my God, classic.
Are you ready to give up yet?
I am not. Just so happens that I have 3 unbroken bones yet. I'll see y'all drown before I quit. Good night, Peg.
Did you guys notice that Al flubs a line in this episode?
Which one?
He was like, I'll see you all be drowned before I do this.
Really?
I'll see y'all drown before I quit.
And I thought that he flubbed the line because I think the audience might have been cheering too loud, so he thought it wouldn't be audible.
That's the only time that I've noticed where you see them actually reacting like in real time, is waiting for the audience to settle down. Like you'll see him go into a line and stop for a second, wait, and then go into it. I love that stuff though. It's great because it just reminds me of like that whole live aspect of like obviously the studio audience and Saturday Night Live, that whole thing.
I think it enhances it too because
it does.
Yeah, because it feels like when you know that there's an audience watching, it kind of makes you feel like we're all part of something awesome right now.
Right.
As you're watching. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course. Who Will Stop the Rain is a song by Creedence Clearwater Revival. And oddly enough, I played this song yesterday by accident. Like, not by accident, but just by coincidence, because I was doing a lot of yard work, and I had my iPhone hooked up to the Bluetooth, and that song was on there.
Yard looks good, by the way, sir.
Oh, thanks, yeah. 5 hours of work.
Nah.
5 straight hours. One of the goofs that are mentioned on IMDb, I didn't mention, they say it's raining heavily, yet when Steve comes into the Bundy house, he's dry, but the box with the guinea pig he's holding is wet. I don't know why I do anything with IMDb and our show. It's just, at this point, an aspect of comedy to just...
No, I know why. I can make sense of that, because he's an animal hater and he probably held it over his head to keep himself dry.
Ooh, wow, you made it work, man. Only you.
Yep.
Only you can make that work.
Savage.
So Al gets electrocuted when he turns off his bedroom light.
Good night, honey. Turn out the light. Be careful, Al. God, it smells like ham in here.
You'll grow to love that humor, but I could imagine it's probably jarring for somebody who just sat through the first 3 seasons. And although there were hints of this type of thing, now we're seeing like electric shock effects.
It's 2 episodes in a row.
I was going to say that he just got electrocuted last episode.
Technically 2 episodes before, but that,
Amazing, yeah.
Right? Like, it's a lot.
And, yeah, he's already been electrocuted in How Do I Love Thee, and even, like, he had all the lights go on around him. So, like, there were signs of this kind of stuff right away, People who have a problem with that aspect, I love it. It adds so much, because you don't see stuff like that on shows.
Well, it's also, I love just, like, different variations of stupid, Like, because there's the wit humor and stuff like that, but, like, the physical comedy stuff, like, I always, I love that stuff. It's so juvenile, but, like, seeing somebody get electrocuted will never not be funny. It's just so dumb. Like, and then the effects that they use around them with the blue, like, it's just so stupid.
Yeah, and it's great. Like, that is the fun of the show.
Right. Exactly.
So how about Peg sitting in the kitchen with an umbrella and moving it to catch water into a cup and drinking it? Like, wow.
A new low.
Well, then you think about how that water has dripped down from the roof, through the insulation,
Ugh.
through the... I mean, that is some nasty water.
It's probably the worst water. I like her faucet isn't working. Like, what's happening here? Bud has special TV reception glasses. So
Totally working her from get-go.
now, from the get-go, as you're looking at this scene, do you notice anything a little odd about the Bud and Kelly to begin with on the couch?
No. What was it?
They are like smashed up against each other.
Yeah.
Like, why are they sitting like that? I
To
wonder.
avoid the water?
Well, it would have made more sense if there was a bowl next to in the middle cushion catching water, but
Right.
I don't think there was. So I just looked at it, I was like, why are they sitting like that? Kelly she brought back her famous jacket that Jerry loves so much, with the Confederate flag on one side and the peace sign on the other. So that jacket's back for this scene. Yeah, but they're sitting like really close, and they're watching a snow TV. Why you'd even have it on? Maybe Bud set the whole thing up, and it was off before this.
Bud, what are you watching? There's nothing but snow on the TV.
Gee, looks great to me. Too bad you don't have these special TV reception adapter glasses. Like I do.
Well, I want to see TV, too.
Well, you can't. I've only got one pair. Would you like to buy mine?
How much?
For you, $20.
I don't trust you.
Fine. Hey, the new Guns N' Roses video is coming on. Does Axl ever wear a shirt?
Call it nerdy, but I wanted to just see if that could ever be true. I checked, and the only videos that were released in 1989 that could be new from Guns N' Roses was Sweet Child O' Mine and Patience, and he does not take his shirt off in either one of those videos. So Bud is just an outright liar.
You don't say.
Yeah, he lied about everything. Because Sweet Child O' Mine was like re-released. It was on their first album, Appetite for Destruction. But for some reason it was re-released on some level and became bigger. I don't know. And Patience was like on their new album that year.
It should have been the November Rain. They should have used.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Well, they didn't use any of them, did they? I mean, because they weren't actually there, so...
Right.
But yeah, that's cool, though, that you even brought that reference out.
That's why I'm here.
Cold November rain.
Oh, November rain.
I have one possible theory as to why they were sitting close on the couch, by the way. I'm thinking maybe because you guys said earlier, like, I'm worried about the set, right? Maybe they had certain camera tracks that only worked. You know what I mean? Like, they were limited in that aspect, so they couldn't go and switch cameras.
Well, I thought it might be the framing, but
right.
There's room to the right of Bud, even on the frame of the shot. I mean, to the left of Bud. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah.
So, so Kelly buys these glasses for $20, which in today's money is $40. So for $40, can you imagine that? She pays them.
Gimme. Hey, I don't see anything.
Oh, great, you broke them. Now neither of us can watch TV.
Hey, Mom, I broke my reception glasses.
Well, be more careful next time.
Mom, I broke my reception glasses.
Yeah. I like how she doesn't even ask for her money back. Like, listen. Nothing.
She just accepts it.
Yeah, I'm out $20. Oh, well. Al comes down in the most ridiculous moron on the roof suit ever. He has plungers on his feet, which is a funny joke when he can't even, like, continue walking and has to have Peg rock him out of this.
Yeah.
But it's pretty weird that Ed O'Neill was willing to walk down the stairs in those. That's kind of risky, right? As an actor.
It's true.
I'd be like, do you have a stuntman? You want to just do a foot shot on the way down the stairs and then I'll... Because he even had to, like, walk around this thing that was on the landing of the stairs. Like, as if this isn't dangerous enough, he had to walk around this weird thing that was on the landing. I didn't even know what it was, but...
Probably tried to get Kane Hodder, but he wasn't available.
Yeah, they should have had Kane Hodder walk down the stairs.
I will now proceed to fix the roof and the TV and prove once again that with intelligence and vision, one man alone can face any challenge. Now, if someone will just rock me to break the suction, I'll be on my way.
I think wow just about covers it.
It's time for No Man to take a little break in the Jiggly Room. I'm the DJ, and I'm gonna play a little bit of music that was on this week's episode of Married with Children.
Peggy, Marcy had a little reaction to the Peruvian devil gerbil bite. By the way, I goofed. I took home the poisonous one. But that spilled milk. Anyhow, she's a little self-conscious. Could you just reassure her that she looks perfectly okay? Come show Peggy, honey.
Marcy comes in with like a volleyball-sized pus-filled hump on her back. She's hunched over, and she's twitching one of her eyes. Like, that is just, she couldn't look more foobar than that. And probably never will. Even with the bullet through her hand. The best line and such great delivery, and he had to wait for the audience to die down, too, when Steve goes...
Now I ask you, is there any reason why this woman shouldn't go to work?
That is the line of the episode to me, man. I just laughed so hard at that. That was just brilliant. Like, as if, like, not just, do you think it looks that, like, instead of being, like, a lame writer and just going, so do you think this looks bad? Tell her she looks fine. And just leaving it at that. They actually brought in an aspect of how Marcy has to now deal with this in the reality of her life. And say, like, okay, so how I'm supposed to go to work like this, you know? Like, just bringing in that kind of thing, it just puts it in a better perspective.
And while I think that that's Steve's funniest line, I don't think that's even Steve's funniest moment in this episode. That comes in, like, 2 seconds.
So, yeah, later, right.
Yeah.
Why don't we just get to the real reason you're angry? It's not that awful, disgusting, pus-filled hump at all. It's your small spirit. You're just jealous because I'm pursuing my dream.
What dream would that be, Steve? To have a wife named Igor?
Obviously, Igor is the name of the hunchback assistant for Frankenstein in... I think Young Frankenstein is, oddly enough, where he's more famous for that.
Yeah, joke's on her. It should have been Fritz.
Right. But the real Igor now is Bela Lugosi, because the three of us are on the Skeleton Crew Horror Podcast, and we went in depth on these two movies, The Son of Frankenstein and The Ghost of Frankenstein, in which Bela Lugosi played a character named Igor, which was not the assistant of Frankenstein.
Right.
He instead is just a guy who hung out with the monster, the Frankenstein monster, a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And Bela Lugosi was referenced on Married with Children in But I Didn't Shoot the Deputy, when Steve and Marcy named their dog Bella, and Al asks him, "You named your dog after Bela Lugosi?" And then he said, "No, Bella something," and it was like some kind of Broadway guy or whatever, or a singer. Al falls off the ladder this time. You see the whole ladder collapse with him on the end of it. And then you see Al shake his fist at the roof. Did you guys see that? Did you notice that?
No, I didn't notice that.
That was a total cartoon move. Now, Peg, for some reason, is inordinarily upset that Steve and Marcy are fighting. She's, like, really bothered by it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is just writing to distract us from Al falling. Like, it's supposed to just show that they're not paying attention to him.
Right.
So they're kind of filling anything in right there.
Right.
Right? Is that what you got from that, too?
Absolutely, 100%. And I had thought about that too. It's like the only time Peg really cares is to move things on and help things comedically for the show.
I mean, there's no reason for a hunchback and a duty scooper to fight. Now, aren't you ashamed?
I'm sorry, Steve. Let's go home and cuddle.
After you, my love.
And then they leave, and then the moment you talked about, Dan, Steve mocks Marcy with the walk.
I died.
That was so good, dude.
That was so funny.
It's so, like, it was just perfect. Like, he nailed it, dude. He had that down.
Mm-hmm. Now, was that walk more akin to the Young Frankenstein Igor walk?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Because I was wondering what exactly he's impersonating. Hunchback of Notre Dame, maybe?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, actually, yeah, I don't know why I said yeah, because that was dead on.
For Lon Chaney.
Yeah.
And he did it so well.
He did.
And that just shows you that he does not care. He has no empathy at all for Marcy.
They're done.
Which, there was a moment in this episode where I thought briefly, wow, you know, he seems so caring. Oh, I guess it was right before they walked out the door, and he's like being nice to her, and so that's why it struck me as so funny that he did that impression, because I was like, oh, I didn't see it coming, I guess.
Yeah, because you're right. He wanted Peg to comfort her and make her feel better.
I think it's hilarious that they use the Bundys as almost like an escape from each other. And I also love how they both show up in the house a lot of the times, but independently. Almost like, you know what I mean? Like, so when he got his job there and then, you know, obviously before that, when she came in to tell him about the job and stuff like that, like they always just run to the Bundys, like, and independently even.
It's a weird dynamic, the whole thing.
And just the fact that they're running to, of all people, the Bundys. Right. Like, are you kidding?
Mom, why can't we call a roofer? I mean, if it gets any wetter in here, the whole house is going to look like Bud's bed.
Hey, wait a minute, kids. It stopped leaking.
You mean Dad actually did it? Hey, Dad! The roof stopped leaking!
Was there ever any doubt?
So Al actually fixed the roof.
Yay.
Nice.
Yep.
Now, does that imply, though, because when he talks about his grandfather's father, for that matter, when he cuts off his hand, right? That would imply that, like, all Bundys are pretty bad at what they do, right?
Yeah.
Or does that imply that regardless of how much abuse they take, they're still going to go and get the job done, you know? Like, he was talking like he was proud of it, but I wonder if he really was, despite the lost hand, you know?
It's all perspective. Like, people are going to remember what they want to remember about anything, you know?
Right.
even like people say nice things about Michael Jackson and then forget the
Hey
idea
guys,
that
want
he
to
had little
represent
kids
the
sleeping
Married
in
with
his
Children
bed with
podcast?
Allegedly.
Go to tpublic.com.
No, he admits that
TEEPUBLIC.
That was like a worldwide thing. Like, come
just go to
sleep
the
in my
search
bed.
bar and type in Married with Children podcast. They have everything you need
And, like,
to rep
even
your
if
favorite
he wasn't
podcast.
touching those
Tank
kids, like,
tops,
that alone-
long sleeve shirts,
Right.
baseball
Like,
t-shirts.
why is a 40-year-old
crew necks,
guy? Why would you
hoodies.
want to have?
They even have these
like
in
if
kid
I
sizes.
went around the neighborhood
Phone
and
cases
did that,
for all different
it
styles
wouldn't be
and
as
sizes.
acceptable because I can't walk
Laptop
backwards.
Stickers,
or
wall
hit a
art,
high note.
notebook,
You know, like
mug,
oh, I can't do that.
pillows,
so if
tote
I ask
bag,
your kids to come
travel
sleep in
mugs,
bed with
you
me,
name it, they got it
that's
all,
weird,
guys.
but it's
and for
okay
great prices,
because he
go to
sings really well.
tpublic.com for
It's
all
cool
your
for
Married
Michael
with
Jackson,
Children
but when Alex
podcast
does it,
representation
now it's a
needs.
problem.
We gotta put him on a list now.
Yeah, exactly. So people remember what they want to remember about everybody, and I think that's what that really is. You know, even if there's like glaring omissions,
right?
It's all good.
Honey, don't forget to fix the antenna.
No problem. Daddy can do it. How is it?
Still fuzzy.
How about now?
Oh, it's better. Keep doing what you're doing.
How about now?
It's perfect, Al. Oh, you know, kids, we ridiculed him and made fun of him.
Help me.
But you know, this time we have to admit, Daddy did it.
Help me.
Al, at the climactic ending, falls off the roof once more, but what breaks him from falling all the way down is the antenna again.
The antenna.
Yeah, once again, oddly enough. But this time, it falls just the right way, and they are all watching TV in its purest form.
Which I feel like goes back to a similar thing that we can all relate to as a kid, where when you're trying to get reception on those TVs with the antenna and holding it at the exact right place, you know? Yeah. And, like, it's just kind of like that's today's version of the antenna is, like, with, like, say, a faulty phone charger, you know? or like, headphones where you got to keep it just right and stuff like, you know what I mean? When the wires start to go or whatever.
Yeah. You got to hold it just right. And then set it down very carefully and don't jostle it.
And don't you dare bang your head in those headphones because that ain't going to work out for you. Yeah.
No, there's no headbanging at that point.
No.
No, ma'am. We'll be right back to wrap up this week's review. Be sure to join their Facebook group page for all the podcast news and updates. Be sure to subscribe to them on the Apple Podcast app, and please leave a review telling them what you think of the show. To subscribe to their YouTube channel, just go to channels and search up Married with Children podcast. Now they're available on the TV Time app. Go to your app store and type in TV Time. Join their Patreon and support your favorite podcast with a small monthly donation. You can email them at marriedwchildrenpodcast@gmail.com.
All right, guys, how many times are we falling off the roof for Who'll Stop the Rain out of 5, Dan?
I would say a solid 3, and I think that might be my lowest rating so far. I thought some of the jokes were great. You know, Kelly had some moments. I liked that moment with her and Bud, obviously. There was a lot that I would like. I was going between a 3 and a 3.5, but I would say a solid 3. Good episode for sure.
Yeah. How about you, Jamie?
Well, I'm pretty much in the same headspace as Dan. I know sharing headspace with you is kind of scary.
It finally happened.
This isn't an iconic episode, so I can't really, it's no Sam Kinison episode. But it does have some really solid moments. It has some very funny jokes. And there's something that just cracks me up about a hunchback and a duty scooper. I don't know why, but I get a kick out of that. So I am going to go that little extra bit and I'm going to fall off the roof 3.5 times. So I guess I'm just hanging on to the antenna.
He hung up by the antenna.
She's hung up on it. Yeah. She didn't fall all the way down for the last time.
But Jamie, don't move though.
Yeah, stay right where you are. This sounds great. I'm going to go the opposite of you guys. For some reason, it struck me more than usual. I'm going 4.5 out of 5.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like, I know exactly what you're saying, but I just don't feel the same way. Because, like I said, I just really recognized for some reason that everybody was on their A game. I mean, the lowest of the A game was the premise. I'm not big on episodes like that where it's like, you know, I didn't rate the To Build a Better Mousetrap very high. You know, to me it just sounds. My thought of it is boring. Like, oh yeah, it's when where Al's going through the house trying to get the mouse, and you know, I don't want to watch it. This one, I probably thought that before I saw this one again, but I recognized that everyone's on their A game. The writing is strong through the whole thing. I love the interactions probably the first interaction about the sex and the 2 o'clock thing. I think that was the weakest part of the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then from there, every single exchange is really great, straight from Al falling off the roof for the first time and the kids watching and laughing. From that point, all their interactions back in the bedroom with Al and Peg. Peg is just shining in this episode. She's just really killing it. And great deliveries. Great Steve and Marcy segments. Both of them were on fire. Mm-hmm. It was a little clunky when he comes in with the gerbil, and I'm like, oh, okay, this kind of